Welcome, 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 guys. It is Chew and Chat with the real YANA Lou, and I am so excited to be back here with you guys. I have a scrumptious guest, and you guys know how I love the word delicious, right? Well, this guest is amazing. He is out in the streets of Savannah, tearing it up, being an advocate for those that need a voice to turn pain into peace. And who am I speaking about? Well, just as a little secret, it's voting time. And with the election time in Savannah, baby, we got Curtis Singleton down here in an ATL himself getting ready to chew and chat with YANA Lou on some hot topics, from coming to be an advocate for a solicitor, a city councilman in Savannah. We're going to push him to a mayor's seat. So y'all know that Patrick Parkins and YANA Lou have been pushing people to be mayors, and they have been becoming mayors. You know, for a minute here now, we've had Dunya Sauter. She was a city councilwoman of Jonesboro. We interviewed her. We've broken history, and she became the mayor. Power of prayer. We interviewed Stone Mountain. We had West Beverly Johnson. She was also running for mayor, and then we voted her on in and interviewed her. It looked like Patrick Parkins at APAP Media and YANA Lou is a good luck charm to turn these city councilmen into mayors. So get your blankets, get your pillows, get your loved one, your popcorn, and your open heart and mind ready to hear about Mr. Curtis Singleton and how he's tearing it up in the streets. We will be right back live 5 with YANA Lou and Chew and Chat in just a sec. Hi guys, welcome back. It is the real YANA Lou. Y'all caught me looking off to the side, didn't you? Well, I love it. Listen here, I really want to bring this guest on, but I gotta tell y'all a secret today. You know, y'all never seen Miss YANA Lou ever use paper. And the girl has got some paper. That means I got a hot guest. So without further ado, guys, let's go ahead and bring Mr. Singleton on the show today. Hey, darling. How are you, baby? Give me some sugar for that. I love. Give me one more now. I thought you wanted to give it.
Definitely.
I tell you, Curtis, how are you today, darling?
I'm wonderful, and I enjoy living a wonderful life.
Amen. Amen. Today, y'all better take heed to that, because this boy's on fire. You know, I really want to dive on into, you know, who Curtis Singleton is. I know you are a native, long-term native of Savannah, Georgia yourself, and you are an advocate for education and turning pain into peace. Yes. I really, really like that. Really, really like that. I know that you are doing other things in Savannah. I want to have you to have an opportunity to tell them a little bit about who you are before I start diving and picking you apart.
Okay. Of course, I'm a father. Two, you know, my girls, my boys, and they keep me pretty busy. They're very productive, and I like that. Of course, during COVID, they presented me with roughly 5 grandchildren.
Wow.
And they're alphas. That alpha generation is particularly hard and fast. And my background is currently I do mediation. I'm president of Savannah Mediation Center Board of Directors. I'm a mediator first. Yes. I'm a facilitator. I'm a conflict resolution specialist. And I do that in all institutions, workplace, in the workplace, in schools, school systems, in communities in particular. And so I really enjoy doing that, because that's fundamentally, it's a skill set. And when we teach conflict resolution skill sets in the community, we'll get to the source of a lot of our issues.
Wow, you did that in a nutshell, honey. I don't know if I do. I'm gonna pop on some specs and see what we got on this here piece of paper, okay? Now, what I do like is that, you know, you mediate. So are you mediating, who are you mediating for? Let's let them know that. Because I thought you would want to mediate for me, stuff I got going on.
I mediate for the courts, particularly the juvenile courts, general mediation, mediating communities, and we do restorative justice. I know you've heard of restorative justice circles, where, especially for youth, that gives them the opportunity to bring in their supporters, to get everyone in there that was influenced or affected by the conflict, And as such, we have a process. I say there are three things: the people, the process, and the problem.
Yeah.
And we deal with the people first. And once they work through a system of discussing what happened, then they come to internalize what happened and the effects that it has on their sister, their mother, their brother. And so we're in the school systems, we're teaching school children how to resolve conflict, what we call peer mediators.
Okay.
And that works very well. So we've got a lot of things going on. And then the community, we have policemen that come and say, hey, when the students get off the bus, there's a fight going on, and there's a videographer. And next thing you know, it's replaying itself on social media, and it leads to a lot of problems. We deal with that. They'll come and ask us to deal with that. And we have some specialists at the Mediation Center that zero in on those issues. And of course, health. Health is a big factor. And I'm also secretary of the board at the J.C. Lewis Health Center.
Nice.
And as such, we deal with the chronic illness that affect our community. Diabetes, heart disease, maternal care for females. We have a pediatric, we have cardiology, we have dentistry. So we go into the community and make healthcare affordable for those that can't get it.
Wow, I think that's beautiful. That really is beautiful. And in Savannah, we need a lot of help and a lot of people coming down and advocating for Savannah and getting the ear and the mouthpiece down there. I think that is amazing. So for students, do you guys give students opportunities to come in and see what you guys do, what all encompasses to push them to, what's that like?
We're in 22 schools and the students are just the bomb. They have the peace building ambassador pins, and they wear them proudly. We have awards every year for them, and we have some specialists that work real hard. And they're on the front line of this trauma now. We're not just talking about a kumbaya moment.
Right.
They're dealing with, my cousin got shot, my nephew got shot. So they have a lot of trauma, and that trauma is playing out. Now, when you take that kind of trauma and then you put a policy like zero tolerance on top of it, now you've got a school to prison pipeline system that's built on the trauma that the students are experiencing instead of dealing with it. So we deal with it. And we try to keep it from rolling off the bus into the community. And what we found is that many times when that happens, the students are carrying their adult issues. You mad at my mama, your mama mad at my mama. And then it just ripples on throughout the community. So we're about the business of conflict resolution and developing the skill sets to cut down on some of the pain we're experiencing and learn to live in peace, but not just world peace as a thing, but in community peace. And safety and feeling secure of where you live and not worrying about, all the guns in the street that we know are out there.
Right. So now with you running for mayor, what are some of the things that you actually want to tap into? I know you're a mediator, which, basically, guys, if you don't want to know what a mediator is, this is a person that will come in and see both sides and put the better perspective on the situation so we all can play a fair game, right?
Yes.
Basically, in a nutshell. So now, coming from city councilman and, mediating for people, things of that nature, what is it that made you wanted to go for the mayor?
Okay, well, we have a mayor, and of course he'll be in for 4 more years, or he's in an election also.
Right.
And I'll be at Post 1, Alderman at Large, which there are 3 positions that run citywide. That's the mayor's position, that's Post 1, Alderman at Large, and Post 2, Alderman at Large. Okay. And I'll be running for Alderman at Large, Post 1, citywide. What made me decide? 2 things made me decide is one, we always have to be in search of the person we want to be and the person that we deserve to be. And being from Savannah, I can speak to, and having, my first job out of college, I was a White House intern. Yeah. And I've worked in the state legislature, and I've worked for one of the former mayors, Lloyd Adams. And at the same time, I was born in the streets of Savannah. And the sand in the streets run through my toes, and I suspect they'll finish up running through my toes.
You ain't going nowhere, right?
Going nowhere.
I love it.
And as such, I know the points of want and want not. And Atlanta experiences some of these same issues. I just stopped at a restaurant that I've been known to stop, and I see all these big, I'm like, whoa, what happened here?
The new, this is make a hub now. This is New York all over.
I was like, and so the same thing is happening in Savannah. And Savannah was one of the first 13 colonies, and it was built on communities. It was laid out in a north-south, east-west grid that preserved the communities and made the people know each other. And now we're at the point where that's changing.
Nobody knows each other.
No one knows each other.
Curtis, let me tell you, nobody wants to knock on the door and know the neighbor no more.
That's right.
When back in the day, mom and them, you're going to know the neighbor and the neighbor's neighbor and everybody else.
It was a grapevine.
So it's kind of like conquer and divide.
That's right. And that's what's happening. I remember when the Mercedes-Benz stadium, the previous stadium was built, and it took out some neighborhoods. Well, the same thing is happening in Savannah with the building. And it's nothing wrong with growth. Growth is a challenge for everywhere. But you have to find out, what do the residents have to say? What do the disabled have to say? What do the elderly have to say? What do the people that have lived here for 35 years have to say? Or you just push them out and say, go somewhere else.
I was having a similar conversation with somebody this week about the same very thing. And we were driving through downtown, right around by the Mercedes. And I moved in an area, for a temporary situation. I'm in an area because I started a business. But my heart goes out because I'm like, I remember the Bluff used to be here. I remember all these other little projects and stuff used to be here. But you know what? Where do you put these people once you put these magnificent Lego blocks up?
Correct.
What is happening to the people? Are we not caring about the people anymore? Right. So what happens to the people?
And they get moved and pushed, and we see them on the streets. We see them, suffering. And of course, the biggest problem is income. We say it's this or that, but I think that the twin ills of income, degeneration, and incarceration has affected our communities greatly. When you have the breadwinner in Georgia is the largest incarcerator in the country in terms of people on paper, probation or parole. And so you've got the primary wage, what used to be the primary wage earner, because we know that's changed too. But then that gets us on the flip side of that coin. That gets us to the child care issue.
Don't start with that now.
And we know what that's looking like. That's out of control.
Look, what about on the news? They blasting Social Security for the stop.
That's right.
Medicaid, food stamps.
Yeah.
So you're basically telling us that if you don't have the good credit, the high dollar, then you're nothing. You're just gonna fade away.
And that affects people's dignity. So that's what mediation is all about, recognizing dignity. That's what we're all about. That's the primary reason why I ran, is that we have to really pay attention to people's dignity, is because when they feel they've lost their dignity and they're not human anymore, then that's when we get all this rash of, I don't know how they went in here and did what they did.
Correct.
Well, they felt such a severe loss of dignity that they're functioning in an animalistic environment now, and they're acting like it.
Barbaric.
So until we recognize that dignity is just as important aspect of respect, and it leads to the conversation that we have to have. That's right. And there are a lot of conversations that are not being had.
Well, we got to be careful. Yeah. But, did Martin be careful? Did the rest of it, so I'm not worried about being careful. I'm worried about, to a certain extent, be careful the way we put the message out so it can be interpreted correctly.
We want a conversation.
We want a
real conversation.
Y'all hear them? We need a real conversation with the top head people with their hearts open before their ears.
And we have people with the skill set to have conversations. It's a skill set.
Correct.
And it begins with listening. and it ends with a new agreement to move forward.
So let me ask you, if we were to nominate you to the position that you want now, which we gonna nominate you, you already got it.
Okay.
Once you walk into that door and set that office up and get comfortable, what's the first thing you're gonna attack?
Let's all get in one room and stop name calling. And let's take a look at first ourselves and find out what trauma we are inflicting upon each other. And if we can, we talk about that and have an honest conversation about that, then we can have an honest conversation about our community.
Tell them. About the community.
Yeah.
So, the
But
community.
we can't take care of the community's business if we're busy fighting each other.
And that's the truth. And I'm glad you acknowledge that because, guys, I'm so happy that Mr. Curtis is here and that you are a mediator because you're actually mediating right now. And you're advocating for the people that are being placed out of their homes in order for somebody else to act fancy.
Absolutely.
For no apparent reason. So I just want to ask, I want to ask the audience, I want to ask the government, I want to ask the people, period. Does it only matter who gets hurt when we start stepping in to help? Or does it matter that we all get hurt and we start stepping up and helping? That's the most important question that I want to know. So Curtis, for you, I hear the passion that you have for advocating for us and, motivating us and getting out, walking in them shoes, because them some heavy shoes with what you're doing. Who is it that you feel is going to be the most difficult to reach to try to change things once you walk in the house? Who is it that you really need to have that one-on-one sit-down conversation with?
The one-on-one conversation, I find, begins with myself. I have to be in a certain, Simone Biles just said it, that she has to be she's learned that she can't let other people invade her headspace. And so I have to find my headspace and I have to show up, find my headspace, show up, have fun, and what happens, happens. But because of the skill set that I have, I'm looking forward to the outcome that is most desirable for everyone here.
Amen. I think that's beautiful.
Yeah.
I think that's beautiful. I think everything that you're doing, guys, I want you to know that Mr. Curtis, he drove all the way to Savannah to have this interview with YANA Lou and Patrick Parkins. We normally get silly down here, and I just want to thank you for that. I really want to thank you.
I was looking forward to it.
We cut the fool, You hear me? So, I love what you're doing, and it's going to happen. So when we get this, what are some things that we as a people on the outside that are not in the government official seats, what is something that we can do as a community to start allowing people to hear us better? Because one thing, I'm going to tell you this, we can riot, we can picket, we can do all this, but it's not making enough noise. What is it that you feel that we can do as a people living in these communities? What can we do to make them hear us?
Get good representation, number one, but understand the rules of the game that's being played. Now, I won't get under the hood of my own car.
Right.
I take it to my brother that's a 35-year mechanic. Because, no, I can't change this light bulb anymore.
I don't want to mess it up.
I don't want to mess it up.
I love it.
And so we have to, I think I read somewhere where many people think noise plus naked equals celebrity. And we have to get out of that celebrity mindset and get into not a personal, but we've got to understand how to affect change, how to affect policy changes, and not vote for someone because we like them, but vote for them because they can get the job done. And I believe I can get that job done. I have a policy background, can do that.
I love it. I think you can get the job done too. I mean, you walked in here with authority.
Yes.
You talked to me on the phone like you better know. I love it. I really do love it. And I know that you'll be a great party in that position. I know that already because, we need somebody that has the recognition to be able to be lively, to be down with the people. And the beautiful part about it is, you are from Savannah.
I'm from Savannah, and
you're not a byway parting person.
Not a byway. From day one, not only from Savannah, but my grandmother used to take us to Tybee, take us to Hilton Head, take us to St. Simon's to see the step show.
Now you talking about my stuff around.
Absolutely.
Hilton Head is what
absolutely.
Come on, I love the pieces.
And so that was the sand that we played on when there was nothing but the shack there.
Okay. So you've been playing rich all your life, huh?
Right there, there.
If y'all don't know nothing about Hilton Head, baby, I'm Tybee Island for the kids, but Hilton Head for the adults.
There you go.
We just took my mother, me, my sister, and my brother, we took my mother to Hilton Head for her birthday, for her 70th birthday.
She loved it.
Oh my God. But my sister had me dressed in purple. Child, I feel like Barney and the whole. Everybody at the island was like, look at them. I said, Lord, can we get me up out their clothes?
Well, the island was pretty much where, like Florida, the island was where black folk went. Yeah. That's where we went on Sundays with the chicken box in the bag.
Now you leave chicken box alone. I had me some chicken the other day with some jalapeno peppers and a strawberry soda, baby, and a biscuit cheese sauce.
That's what we had.
That's the part we
stayed out there all day long.
And it was beautiful.
And it was beautiful. So, we knew each other.
Yeah. And that's building the community, because that's exactly what it's about, building a community. Now let me ask you about building a community in the government official seats.
Okay.
How can you bring your beauty into this government and build the community? What are some things that you feel you're going to need?
You need the capacity to not think they're simple solutions. You need the information.
Yeah.
And which in many cases begins with people say, oh, they didn't tell me, I didn't know. Well, you also had the power over freedom of information requests and get exactly what you want when you want it. You just have to ask the right questions. So we need people with that policy expertise to establish policies that protect us. And how do we get in a room and speak to that policy is that communities come together and say, okay, let's talk about what policy we're dealing with here. We don't want to see it when it becomes an ordinance. We don't want to see it when it becomes a law.
That's right.
What happens before all of this? And we have the capacity to do that. We have the Urban League does a lot of research here in Georgia.
Yeah.
And so we have to use the information to formulate policies that protect the communities, and that's the first thing. And then, of course, the next thing, everyone's having issues with fully staffed police departments. We know that's happening now as a trend. And whatever precipitated it doesn't matter. We know it's happening.
We know what's happening.
And of course, the double edge for that is some people see it as crime prevention, and some people see it as a need for public safety. And I need to be safe.
Sure.
So
and some
we've got to have that
it,
conversation too.
Yeah. And some people see it for like these roundabouts.
Roundabouts.
I've been hearing
right.
conversations.
Oh, all over the place.
Then the roundabouts are supposed to be where the military is supposed to stand, and we're supposed to be checkpoints.
All the way. And now the good part in our conversation is on our board, which we have the chief of police on our board. We have teachers. We have other city councilmen that are mediators. So we're looking at forming a critical mass of people with the capacity to collaborate with each other. And that's what we're talking about. All this that we're talking about collaborating.
Period. Get together in the sand.
That's right.
Go back to the old school when we used to play in the beach.
That's right.
When it was just all one, it didn't matter. And collectively put it together and spread a piece here to here and let everybody feel. Now the bullet, we're gonna make you feel the most important, and we're gonna delegate you. We're gonna delegate everybody.
There you go.
And then we can have all the trouble gone.
That's right.
Guys, I'm gonna tell y'all something. We're gonna be back live 5 with YANA in just a second with this commercial, coming back with Mr. Curtis Singleton, tearing it up in Savannah. We love him. And listen, come on back and listen to some more hot stuff that he got going on. He's gonna give his social media handles. And if there's any way that you can support this gentleman, I really, really, really would encourage you to do that, because to support him is to support your sisters and brothers. We are not just out here to take care of the homes that get washed away by water or boats that was man-made. Done. But we are out here to advocate for those ones that can't speak for themselves, that just don't have it, can't get to the meeting, or can't, We're going to be back live 5 with YANA Lou in just a second. All right. Welcome back, guys. So, guys, if you have been gone and you have not tuned in to the Chew and Chat with the Real YANA Lou show, we have Mr. Curtis Singleton here all the way from Savannah, Georgia, tearing it up, all the way up the road. Curtis, I just love you. I thank you for coming out here with us. Let me tell you something. I want to know a little bit about what it is that you want to see at the end once you come in this position, because this is yours. It's for you to have it. He looks the part, don't he, y'all? I mean, he wearing this suit real good. What is it that you want to see, Curtis? At the end of the day, you're in the office. I mean, speaking from the community aspect, speaking from your counterparts in the office, what is it that we're seeking and want to see at the end of the day?
The first thing I want to see is for the council itself to be able to display respect with each other. Savannah is known as the hostess city, the city of hospitality.
Yes.
Well, we can't have a council that's bickering and arguing and not getting along, and in total contradiction to that image. And so that's number one. And number two is, I was at a community meeting last night, and a 70-year-old lady spoke of how girls have been raped or disappearing in her neighborhood. And I could feel her for it. And it's like she's speaking to something she's seeing that no one else is validating.
So she has to speak through a different language for us to hear it.
That's right.
Okay.
That's right. And so that really has been on my mind since last night, that you've got this neighborhood where, rumors are that the girls are disappearing and being exported or whatever the case might be. Yeah. And so that tells me that there's something going on, and that you have to listen to the people at this level to understand what's really going on, and that there's something going on that you're not fully aware of. Yeah. And so listening to what people have to say and being a voice for them. Yeah. Because I've been there, I've been here, and I can be a voice because I can pretty much walk in any hall or any place.
If I could be you. If I could be you.
Yes. So I have the capacity to navigate different environments. What do they call it? Code switching. And I can do that. Yes. And so I'm able to find out some things that someone else might not find out. And so when she was talking, I realized she was saying something that hadn't been talked about a lot. Subliminally. And now beyond that, we're talking about what's happening now in Savannah are the hotels, the Airbnbs, and the single-family houses being taken off the market, being converted into into apartments. Airbnbs.
Because it's making the money now.
And so that's extracting a lot of single-family housing off the market. And as it does, of course, it affects supply and demand and causes the property values to go up. It causes rents to go up. And so people are having an income issue because their income doesn't allow them to meet the demands of the market.
That's right.
And Savannah has a $5 and I think 15-cent minimum wage, which means a lot of people are making $5.15. And now the state minimum wage is the federal minimum wage is $7.50, I believe, give or take a few pennies. But there's a range of people making between $5.15 and $7.50.
And how can you live off that in the world today?
You can't. Not with 2-bedroom apartments going for $4,000 a month.
Listen now. Here in Atlanta, we're seeing houses. I'm driving by houses that I seen $900, They are now $1,900. Houses I've seen for $1,500. They $2,300. What in the world? Where are we loving our people? Where are we caring? Is it just about a dollar bill? Because I never seen a hearse go behind a casket.
Absolutely.
Who gonna keep it, gonna use it?
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's a fundamental problem, a challenge that we're dealing with. Overall, everywhere is not a silo. The income disparities, I believe Jimmy Carter spoke to it once. He said, we've got to do something about the income disparity. Now, incomes technically hasn't gone up in 27 years with trickle-down economics. So we got a
gap.
We got a gap.
Do you feel like this is a certain type of race or genre of people scrounging? First shall be last and last shall be first?
It's the communities trying to find a voice in all of this wealth. And so how do you yell from the island that, I don't want to get taken out? And the only way to do that is if you don't, Dr. King said something, he said, you either have money power or you have people power. And the communities represent people power. And until they recognize their people power, then their voices are stopped and stifled by money power.
So what are we going to do? Are we going to get in neighborhoods and talk to them?
We're going to get in neighborhoods and talk to them. We're going to walk the streets, and we're going to bring the communities together, because that's where the real source is. Instead of just being divided by communities, then let's bring the communities in for collaborations. And
let me tell you what it feels like. It feels like we're coming up out of segregation again.
Yes.
Okay? It feels like we're putting in place those people that are not afraid again. It feels like we're reaching back, since they turned into that day, reaching back to what it was, but I don't want to be whipped. But that's what it's heading to. That's what it is. That's what the setup is about, to bring it back to slavery. It seems as though the way that it's turning, because they did the magical thing of shutting the whole world down for COVID. That was the trial. Can we shut this place down? Right. And did.
The simplicity of it, of what you just said, to put an exclamation part by the backwards movement, the simplicity of it is found in reading. Right now, books are being banned. Reading is being banned.
Come on.
And one of the most amazing things that I find is that with the elimination of cursive writing in schools, many of the students can't even sign their names. So now what am I supposed to do with that?
What signs are you getting there?
What am I supposed to do when I'm finishing mediation and I say sign your name and they said I can't? I'm like, well, what do you do?
They don't teach them cursive anymore. Can't do it. Can't talk about God in the school anymore.
So somebody has to sign my name for me, or I sign an X.
Or you just put, I was going to say. So. Y'all, we got to wake up. What I hear Mr. Curtis Singleton is telling us, we got to wake up. It is so time to wake up and pay attention to what's going on. And if you can educate yourself, you find every way you can to educate yourself so we can stand up, because we need it. We really need Mr. Curtis Singleton to be in the house. Because to me, it sounds like he's a genuine voice, has a genuine heart, and he is from the place where he's running. What more better person to be put in place from somebody from home? Because you're not an outsider. Definitely. You're not an outsider. And to have a native, you can't do nothing but lift that up. If we don't lift him up, then who and why? That's a big question. Who and why?
There's so many families paying $7 a minute for phone calls from prison for relatives. That's what phone calls from prison cost. $7 a minute.
I better not never take a phone call.
It's a collect call. It's a collect call. $7 a minute. And that's a huge burden. That's not talking about sending the money. And we're talking about youth now, because serious crimes have gone down. Murders, rapes, and robberies have gone down over a number of years. Not that they're not happening. Because I just had a relative that 19 that's paralyzed for the rest of her life that was randomly shot by someone. So not that those things aren't happening, but the volume is occurring in juvenile crimes now. Car break-ins, stealing guns, passports, wallets out of cars. But with that, they get into the system. And the problem with getting into the system in Georgia is hard to get out because you can be on paper, as they like to call it, for up to 15 years. And so the first thing you do in violation, you're back where you started from. So you're on this hamster treadmill. You can't get off, which means the family can't get off. So we have to raise boys and men for education instead of incarceration. And that's what we need to be doing. And they count prison beds at third grade. They count how many prison beds they need based on third grade performance, especially for young boys. Because that's the turning point. We've heard of the fourth grade syndrome.
Yeah, the fourth grade syndrome.
Right.
So what if you have somebody that's artistic?
Exactly. Well, they get caught in the net. Their skills, never develop. But that's how they project how many prison beds they need. And in Georgia, we've got a real issue with that.
Oh, baby.
Yeah.
Not only do we have an issue with that, how many they put in there, we have an issue with the way that they're treating them once they're locked in there.
Now you're talking.
I'm talking about toilets that's been overrun and feces from somebody else and food and medication and different things. So, now I have to know this. You're running for this, and how do you take that and process it and say, I'll stand for it? When you got so many people that talk about it behind closed doors, but you're really running for it. What does it feel like to be in those shoes, seeking this position?
We have been a part of the fabric of this country from the beginning. And that's what Dr. King would speak to.
Yeah.
And from Crispus Attucks dying in the Boston Massacre, all the way to I just met the 100-year-old gentleman, Lieutenant Harvey, who was the first Top Gun for the Tuskegee Airmen, the Red Tail Squad.
You better bring him on down here and let Patrick take a look at him.
Yes.
Bring him on over here.
And he was in Savannah recently, and he talked remarkably, gave us some remarkable stories, and basically, the reason we're doing is to demonstrate our capacity to excel, number one. And of course, two, is because we want to see this democratic experience successful because we've got blood on the ground here too.
That's right.
And we've got sweat on the ground. And we've got an unredeemed check. So we've got to,
we gotta get to work.
This is where we are. And I can't leave because I've had uncles and uncles and uncles that have fought in every war.
And you're on front line right now.
Yeah, and so we're right here, and the war is here. So we've got to do what we got to do to make it forever. This is where we are. This is where my children are, my grands.
Guys, I want you guys to really pay attention to what he said. I know we're going to wrap up in here in a second here. I want him to give his social media handles. But I want you to understand the seriousness of what he's running for and what he's speaking up to and what's going on opposed to out here in this world today. Because Curtis, like I say all the time, we can't say it as repetition out of my mouth, the increase, the inflation, the regentification, all these certain things that we have in place here. And, there's no one speaking to the heart of, like you said, the community. It's all about the community. People get together. Black people merge together, learn your community. You have a very beautiful rainbow, flavorful, basket full of African Americans. Dominics, Spanish, Haitians, Nigerians, Jamaicans, Americans, flavorful. But if we come together as a team, as one big family, and not hate on one another and stay separated like the world wants us to, when we come together collectively, we can move some things, we can change some things. I believe that, we will be the top where we should be. And I love what you're doing. Please tell these lovely people your social media handles so they can get in contact with you.
You can get in touch with me, #Curtis for Council, Savannah @gmail.com. Also #Curtis for Council. And thank you so much. I'd love to be able to represent and be your voice in council, be your honest voice in council, and be a voice that can be heard in council. Thank you.
Now, guys, I know we're going to go, but I'm going to brag about him real quick. I got a little background on this baby right here now. 2.5 seconds, Patrick. Wait, hold on. So the background of you, what I was reading, and this gentleman, he wrote it up so lovely, for you. I did steal your little writing, so I didn't write it. But Singleton is seeking to be elected for office for the first time, but has worked in politics for decades, dating an internship with President Jimmy Carter administration following his graduation from college. He has also worked for Georgia government Zell Miller. That's good. How was that?
Hope Scholarship.
Okay. And a policy analyst in Georgia General Assembly, and for the Savannah Mayor Floyd Adams. He has consulted on numerous politics campaigns over the years, including Judge Tammy Stokes, running for the Superior Court in 2022. Singleton said he wants to apply his experience in public policies and to be as a mediator to transform pain into peace on Savannah's often continuous city council. On the issues, his focus is on promoting policies to improve post-secondary education, to create an educated next generation that can access the jobs coming to Savannah, and to encourage entrepreneurship. I love it. I love it. Last but not least, he is also environmental safety and security. I'm using paper, guys. I can't believe it. Which can range from policing and community engagement to stormwater issues and affordable residents and everything for residents in the community. This man is an advocate for what it's about to building the community. He has a heart for the community. I am rallying for him. I am advocating for him. I am sticking my neck out here for him. I'm not just going to vote for him because he's African American. I'm not going to vote because he's a cute guy in a suit and he can rock it. I'm not going to vote. I'm voting because he is a man that is from a state that is really calling out for help and to get you guys to come together and to stand as one so you can have something. Don't run. Don't fret. Come together. And know that you have a partner that is coming into this position that is willing to help, to love, to stand there, to be with you guys and walk it all the way through. We are, and we have voted him to be the next mayor in your post.
Thank you so much.
Most definitely. I really, really, really enjoy it. Now, before we leave, I want you to go ahead and tell them anything that you really want them to know about you and what you're seeking for this election. And when is your election?
The election, actually, early voting began on Monday. And so I had a cousin call me a couple of days ago, and she said, I voted for you. I voted for you. I voted for you. You've got at least one now. And so I was very happy about that. And others. We are at a critical stage here in Savannah. We're getting ready to go into hypergrowth. We speak of the Hyundai plant coming in. We speak of the convention center development. Well, that's going to bring a lot of people here. And the houses are going to, the living standards are going to be exceptionally high. And as I've said, I don't want Savannah to become a gated Beverly Hills. We belong here. The residents have been here. There's a voice to be heard. And I would like to be that voice because I'm capable, I'm flexible, I'm independent, I'm collaborative, I'm knowledgeable, and I'm experienced enough to do that for you. Thank you so much.
Woo! Honey, child, you give me 5 on what you said and slap the bracelet on my hand. You hear me? Baby, let me tell you something. He's serious, he's fun, he's a bunch of joy, but he's on time and he's on point for you guys. So I love the fact, before we get out of here, how you're fighting for us and making sure you're fighting for your community.
Yes.
You're running for the right part and you're fighting for your community because you don't want them to overtake it and then there's no originals. No. And you cannot enjoy Savannah. Paula Dean down there got the food still good down there?
I think she retired.
Yeah, after that, okay.
Yes.
Well,
Yes.
The restaurant's good.
And of course, we had cooks in the kitchen.
Mm-hmm. It was us.
Yes.
Mm. Well, if the restaurant's still over there, I'm coming to get me some of that.
And of course, the same thing goes with Ms. Wilkes. If you haven't been there.
I haven't been to Miss Wilkes.
Oh, well, yeah, you got to go there.
Listen, y'all, your history. Parents, talk to your children. Sit down a little more. Steal away some time that you can invest into your children and you can educate them. The books that you have in your home, give them an opportunity to read to you. Strengthen their language, strengthen their speech, strengthen their dialect, strengthen everything that they have so that we can have somebody standing up for us. Because what's happening right now is we are being watered down to where we're nothing and we don't matter and our voice doesn't matter. Don't worry about how somebody look at you. It's what matters when you look in that mirror. And when you look in that mirror, you know who you want standing up for you. It's Curtis Singleton. Vote for Curtis Singleton for mayor, coming soon. Guys, it has been fun down here with you, Mr. Singleton. We have some more time coming with you. We're going to be beating the streets with you, out in the streets, walking with you, recording with you, walking you all the way through.
Wonderful.
You are a phenomenal man. I love what you're doing. Peace, grace, and mercy over everything that you do. And please come back again.
Definitely.
Most
That's
definitely.
a definite.
Is there anything that you wanted our good people to know before you left? Anything pertinent?
Thank you so much for what you've done here today. You've amplified a voice that in search of amplification.
Amen.
And the amplification of my voice is the amplification of a lot of voices that go unheard. One of the things in Savannah, we talk about the new convention center, and there are a lot of unheard voices on that island.
Yeah.
That was there before all the progress. And so we speak for all of those voices as well.
Amen. Bless you all. We are not going to forget about you. You see, Curtis is already on the job, guys. He ain't going to leave you out. He ain't going to let you just be all off to the side and forgotten about and talked about and say, oh, next time. No, he remembered you. You see? So please, guys, vote for Curtis. Get out. Pay attention. Listen for his name. Watch out for that smile. Check that suit out. Follow where he going and vote, vote, vote. Curtis Singleton for mayor, coming in Savannah near you. Peace. We'll see you next week. Again, it was a wonderful time to have you down here.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate you.
All right.
Lovely.